Welcome to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I'm your host, Darrell Scott, and together we will dive into the lives and careers of the jazz legends who have left a rhythmic imprint on the world. Be prepared to reminisce on the highs and the lows of their musical journey and the trials that sculpted their timeless musical gems. We'll preserve the legacy of these extraordinary maestros and find inspiration in the melodies of their lives. Subscribe now and never miss a beat. Now, let's get to the show. Welcome. This is the Jazz Flyte Podcast. 9 chances out of 10, I'm Darrell Scott. We won't talk about that 10th time. We're going to talk to a young man who was recently in town. He's down in Akron. He's from here, so we got a lot of, in our short pre-show conversation, we got a lot of the same friends, and I'm going to talk about a few of them, but we're going to go from there. This is, do I refer to you as Jay Saxx? Do I refer to you as John? What should I call you?
John J. Saxx Watkins.
All right. John J. Saxx Watkins. Went downtown to the Cleveland School of the Arts, knows many of the same people that I know, even some people I worked with, and one gentleman that I actually went to high school with, and we'll talk about that. Sure. John J. Saxx, how did this musical career get started? What motivated you to get into music?
So I'm going to tell you a story. When I was, and this is one of the memories, and you know they say you don't remember much as a baby.
Right.
But I was able to walk, and I know I had a pamper on because I was trying to be sneaky. My dad went to Tri-C.
Mm-hmm.
My dad at the time was getting his degree to be a music teacher. So, you know, as a music teacher there, you learn all the instruments so you could teach them.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had all these instruments stretched out on this couch: saxophones, flutes, clarinets, trumpets, trombones, all on the couch. And so he had to go to the bathroom, and I kept trying to touch on him before he went to the bathroom, and he would move my hand. And he was like, I remember him saying, "Don't touch these instruments." And he went into the bathroom, and I remember trying to sneak, and I remember my pamper making noise. So I looked down at it. I remember this, but I went straight to the clarinet and the saxophone. And I was playing with it. And when I heard him open the door, I tried to run. And he caught me because my pamper was making a lot of noise. So that right there intrigued me. And I remember seeing my dad play the sax and play the clarinet. He picked up the other instruments, but those didn't stick out. The saxophone and the clarinet stuck out to me. Later on, from 1983 to the last one we went together, two together, before I started performing, this is when he was performing, was 83, 84, 85, and 86. And I'm watching my dad on stage play. And when he wasn't playing, he was in the audience with me. And I was saying then, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. So fast forward a little bit, moonlighting. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Come
Yeah.
on. That sax player on there. Come on, dog. And then you got Angela.
Al Jarreau sang the vocal.
Yes, sir. You have Angela, Taxi by Angela by Bob James.
Bob James, yes.
You got what's that? Barney Miller. Boom,
yes.
Come on, man. It's like Shine from the Sun. Come on, man. You got real music being played on these TV shows. I'm getting chills talking about it.
Yes.
And it's real music. I mean, some of the greatest: David Sanborn, Bob James, Al Jarreau.
Right.
I can keep going. Grover Washington Jr.,
Yes.
Bill Cosby Show. Fast forward a little bit. Sesame Street, Grover Washington Jr.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Luther coming out with Sesame Street. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I can keep going. And it was just like a big influence to me. And I kept saying, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. Not knowing that I'm speaking that into my life, manifesting. Right. Because you know, I didn't know nothing about manifestation.
Right.
I knew about prayer, but I was still learning about prayer.
Right.
But I knew nothing about manifestation. So I'm manifesting this. And I kept saying every time I heard a saxophone player, not knowing I'm listening to my Uncle Russ on Gerald Levert's songs and stuff, I'm gonna do that. And I kept telling my mom, I'm gonna do that right there. I'm gonna do that right there. And she said, what you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna play that thing right there that's playing that thing right there. And I didn't know what it was called. You know what I'm saying? She said, what, the saxophone? Your dad played the saxophone. I said, I know, I'm gonna play it too. And that's all I knew. I'm sitting, kicking my feet in the back seat, dancing, bobbing my little big head. You know what I'm saying? And just fast forward, my grandfather played trumpet. My uncle was a part of the Commodores. I just had it all around. My Uncle Jack played guitar. My dad played every instrument fluently. You know, my older brothers played. I'm around Uncle Russ, starting to be around Uncle Russ and Gerald, Jermaine Lockhart and Eddie Backus Jr. and Eddie Backus Sr. Now I'm in school. I'm fast 4th grade. I get to pick an instrument. So I picked the clarinet. That's what started it all at Cleveland School of the Arts. I kept trying to play it in 3rd grade and stuff, but I went to Corlett Elementary. They didn't have instruments for us.
Right.
They would give us a xylophone and a little bell and say, oh, you have band class. No, that's not band class. But they thought it was. So fast forward, I'm in 4th grade and I'm at Cleveland School of Arts, and they said, oh, what you want to do? So I picked drama and music. I was an actor and I was into music. And I said, what instrument? They said, what instrument you want to play? I said, I would like to play the clarinet. And I said, I want to play the saxophone. Well, you have to start with the clarinet, which is the biggest farce ever. But they put me on the clarinet, and I was happy with it because my dad played it. And I said, well, I'm going to play it too. And I've been saying I was going to do it. So I started on clarinet, 4th, 5th grade. 6th grade, I switched to drums and saxophone. And we had Mr. Moore and was our band teacher, and Mr. Woods, Bill Woods, was over the whole musical department, which he still works there to this day.
Wow, man.
To this day. And so eventually Mr. Thomas came and became our jazz band teacher. And Mr. Thomas started Dave Thomas.
Yes.
Yeah. I was best teacher.
Check that name off the list.
Right.
That's another one.
Right. So Dave Thomas was our jazz band teacher, and Mr. Moore wasn't too happy about that because he was a jazz man. He loved the jazz band. But Mr. Wood's like, no, we got to get Dave in here. So he gave Dave the jazz band, and Mr. Moore was just the band director. And so we started having fun, and that's when we started getting into the competitions with Tri-C Jazz Fest. And that's when I got to hit the stage that my dad used to hit on, and it was such an honor and such a good feeling. And all the greats that I got to watch play on that stage. And I'm like, wow. So I walk out on the stage like, I'm finally on the stage. Like,
right.
Now I got to put the work in and stay on here. You know? And that's when Mr. Sood and Mr. Enos and Mr. LeGrand and Mr. Dave Sterner, that's when they came into play. And we would do the theory portion where we had to take tests, and then we would go off into our sections and have to actually, our private teacher lesson. And it was a little difficult because I didn't know that I naturally had it. And so I'm gonna tell you a difference. You have musicians and artists that's naturally gifted, and when they're that way, the mathematics of theory can confuse them. Because they naturally hear it and feel it. When you start putting the mathematics in front of them, it's like, what's this? This is a foreign language, and it's weird. But I struggled with theory at the very first because it was like, okay, so what do this major scale got to do with me going ba-da-da, 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 ba-da-da? And it was like, well, because you have to know this major C scale in order to know what you're doing when you go ba-da-da, ba-da-da. But I will argue that because if I can hear it, I can play it. If I can sing it, I can play it. If I can feel it, I can play it. I don't need no scale to do that. Just because you broke it down mathematically don't mean that's the way I need to go to learn, And I will argue that, even with Mr. Thomas at first, because Mr. Thomas would give us a test. And with music, F sharp, let's say C minor and A minor and C major scale. It's the same scale, okay? The difference between the C major scale and the A minor scale is instead of starting on C, like this in the C major scale, you start on the A. But because it's an A minor scale, everything in that scale is minor, which means it's a natural scale, no sharps, no flats. that makes it the C major scale starting on A. But when Mr. Thomas would give us a test, he would say, okay, well, which it would be a test like the C. So which scale is this? And it might be written out in the A minor way. And I might put C major because I struggled with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I know it's still the C major scale because there's no sharps or flat in it. Right. And he will mark it wrong. And I say, well, Mr. Thomas, that's right. He said, no, it's not, John. And I said, well, why not? Can you explain it to me so I can understand better? And he said, well, look, if you have A minor, you starting on A. You're not starting on C. In C major, you're starting on C. Okay. And I say, okay, well, I'm starting on the C, D, E, F, G, A. I'm starting on the 6th degree for a minor scale, which make it the minor scale. But at the end of the day, it's still the same scale. He said, correct, but wrong. And I said, wait a minute. So now I'm really confused. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, so either it's right or it's wrong. He said, well, technically it's wrong. I said, but Mr. Thomas, if I was to play it, it's going to sound the same. He said, no, it's not, because you're starting on the A instead of the C, which I understand that now. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yes.
But technically, it's still the same scale. You know, and then that I will argue them up and down. I said, well, you say it's wrong. I'm going to say it's right. I don't care. Because if I get on my instrument and play C major scale and I'm still playing it, if I'm soloing off a C major scale and decide to start on the A minor, it's still the C major scale. You know, I just started on the A. And if I do a triad, I'm going to do C, E, G, A, you know, to make it a 7. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's still the same thing. It's like, no, it's not.
So let me ask you this. Consider everything that you just said. Would you have considered yourself a prodigy? Because it was wrong, but it was right.
Right.
So did you get a lot of pushback from them, or did they finally understand where you were coming from?
I got a lot of pushback only because technically, from a theory standpoint, mathematically, it's supposed to be different. But if I was a chemist and I wanted to make a formula up, as long as I had the right ingredients and measure it the right way, it should still come out the same exact way. Now, their thing was, no, it's not the same exact formula. So the measurements is going to be off because you're starting on the A instead of the C. So that's going to make your formula off. But it's the same ingredients. So it's like, I was simplified in my head automatically and not realize I was simplifying it. And so when I simplified it, it was confusing me and making me feel like I was slow, but I actually was faster than the rest, you know.
No, don't take this the wrong way. I'm so happy I didn't have to teach you. I just am. That's all I'm gonna say. Before we go any further, I want to get in some of your music. So people, please listen to we'll go with Hoodwinked.
Okay.
By John J. Saxx on the Jazz Flyte Podcast. Welcome back to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. That's John J. Saxx. I'm gonna get the name right. It confuses me.
Good, bro.
We'll have more music to come. I want to ask you this, because some of the people who were your influences and mentors, don't get me wrong, are friends of mine. So if you got dirt, that's fine. But you called him Mr. Legrand. I have never called Kenny Legrand Mr. Legrand in 40 years.
Really?
Tell me about Kenny teaching you.
He was one of my biggest influences on the saxophone in person. Because Mr. Legrand, when I say he can make that saxophone talk, man, he can make that saxophone talk. And it was just the way he was approaching it. And every time I thought about it, and this is what I would get into arguments with Mr. Thomas, because I would think of Mr. Legrand and how he's approaching and what I heard him do, and not knowing that I had an ear already, and it was sticking to me. And I would hear him playing every time. I can hear him now that we talking. And I would say, well, Mr. LeGrand would do it this way in my head. I wouldn't tell Dave that.
Right.
What I'm
Yes.
saying? Because, that's a slap in the face. But I would say Mr. LeGrand would do it this way. But Mr. LeGrand would agree with Mr. Thomas on certain things, too. And they played together. You know what I'm saying? But I would see, when they did play together, I would see Mr. LeGrand be able to take the lead a lot. And that was very influential to me as well. And that was my instrument. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing sax. So it's like, that's what I want to do. And I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention to everybody and how they approach things and how they're doing it. And so it's like, I'm getting confused again, because I'm like, well, how to put that theory with what they did.
Right.
Because I'm hearing it, but I'm not seeing that C major scale or that A major scale go with what they just did, because they didn't do that. And in class, Mr. Gould would teach us the bebop scale. We played in all 12 keys, okay? Around the circle of fifths, circle of fourths. We do it forwards and backwards. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, I was able to incorporate that in there, but after I did that, then what?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Then
right.
what? That's only one turnaround. You know what I'm saying? So what I do after that? And it was like, well, you're supposed to apply this scale and your minor pentatonic scale and do your blues scale. Okay. Now I did that. So now what? Like, because I'm following what they're telling me as far as the theory, but I'm hearing this over here. And I asked Miles Davis. My uncle used to drive for Miles.
Oh.
And I said, Mr. Miles, how do you put the theory with the music? And you know how Miles, excuse my language. Yeah, he was like, right.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Yep. Right. He hit me on the chest. Come from there. It come from there. He said, you know the scales, right? I said, yeah, I think so. You know what I'm saying? He said, forget that. And just play from here. Just play from here. He said, that's actually, just play from here. And I said, okay. And that stuck with me, but I was super confused after that, because I was trying to figure out how to put it together.
So Miles is one of my all-time favorites, and I took there's two stories. The one story is Bitches Brew is a very interesting album.
Yeah.
And that song has got 5 guys, and I still think they're playing 5 different songs. I just do.
Yeah.
Because that's what it sounds like to me. On the other hand, Miles was at the Palace Theater downtown. And this is the time when Miles would play, and then he'd step away and let whoever solo. So I think the soloist, I'm pretty sure, was Kenny Garrett. So Kenny's doing his thing. Miles walks up to the front of the stage. I got some friends in with me. We're sitting in the front row, and Miles comes over, he leans down and goes, how am I doing? And we're like, he talked to us.
Right.
He talked to us. And we're all like thumbs up or whatever and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, so no one could believe that actually, and a couple of people just went just because they could get free tickets. But it was one of those things where that's the only line he said. That's the line I remember forever. Let me talk about another guy who's been on the show, who's a friend of mine. We went to high school together, Eric Gould.
Yes,
Eric's a good guy. Tell me about Eric teaching you.
Eric was very influential because he helped me understand the theory. He actually broke it down for me. And he got on the piano and he said, John, if I'm doing this right here, what is that? And, that was our ear training. And I said, well, that's a bebop, a B-flat bebop scale. He said, right. Okay, if that's what that is. So in order to incorporate that scale in between, I might do some chromatics. Oh, okay, now it's making sense, because I always said, so what I do in between when I'm not doing the scales, Well, let's have some chromatics. Put a few chromatics in there. Put some feeling and some taste. You don't have to blow on top of every note. Give it some space. He helped me understand that, and he would go back and forth with me on the piano, and he would give me exercises to work out and take home. And I would go home and I would practice that, and then I would meet them at 6th Street Down Under. You remember that place?
John's Story. Yes, I do. Yeah.
So me and my brother Roddy Richards would go down to 6th Street Down Under with Greg Bandy, Mr. Gould. Hub would be down there, my cousin Myron, Eddie Backus Jr., Eddie Backus Sr. Man, I can keep going. I'll be down there. We sitting at the bar, me and my brother Roddy, kicking our feet, drinking orange juice because we was the kids.
Right.
And we're listening to them play, and then they put us up there on stage and have us play with them. And when I say sweating bullets, I was so nervous, but that's how I learned. That's how I figured it out, because of that. Mr. Gould would have us come out and actually one-on-one teach us outside of the school, outside of class, in the atmosphere where we needed to hear it and play it. And we played it, and it was fun. It became fun. It wasn't homework anymore. It became fun. It was something that we hungered for, you know. And that's the type of teacher Mr. Gould is. And that's why Mr. Gould is where he is now, working for Berklee, because he's always been that guy.
Yeah, he's been ahead of the game all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious. This is like, I'm back. It's 1982 all over again with all these names. We obviously have to we'll have to do more of this, but let's keep going with this. So your education isn't necessarily books, it's actual playing with people who are already playing.
Yep.
Nervous? Pressure?
Yes.
Or did you just go out and I got to do my thing, so I'm gonna play?
Both. It was both. I'm the type of guy, if I heard somebody, even to this day, listening to Gerald Albright, I go, when I'm in front of Gerald or Uncle Kirk, hearing them play is so inspirational. And it's like, you hear them do something that you don't know how to do yet, always. Because they that far ahead of the game. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, where did he do it? And it makes me hungry to go home and share. And I record everything. Even when I go out and play, I record myself so I can critique myself, hear what I did good, hear what I did bad, so I can work on it. And I do the same thing when I go hear my peers. I record everything. And that way I can learn, because I found out my ear is my strongest strength. My wife teased me because before a gig, I had to play a song, and I didn't get to play it by hand. And I did this in front of her a couple of times. I would listen to it back to back on repeat. By the time we got to that gig, I'm playing that solo just like we heard it.
Wow.
And she was like, "How did you do that?" And I said, "What you mean? You didn't practice it at home, so how did you learn it that fast in the car?" I said, "Well, babe, I was just tuning everything out and was concentrating on that. That's why we wasn't talking too much." You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I was listening to it, and in certain parts I would. I said, "Baby, you hear how they did that? You hear how they did that?" And she was like, "Yeah, I heard it. Okay." And she's like, "Okay."
Right.
But that's my ear. Mr. Gould, Dave Thomas, Kenny LeGrand, all my peers, they ear hustled me. They ear trained me. Mr. Woods, they ear trained me. That was my thing. I pick up by hearing and feeling.
Right.
I'm a feeling player. I'm a hearing player. I'm a spiritual player. The spirit had to be right. To God be the glory. You know what I'm saying? And that evolved me. When I got in the atmosphere, it's like something else took over, and it was like, this is what I'm talking about. Because that's how my dad, remember going back, my dad had me at the Jazz Fest, and I'm listening to them play. 3 years old, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. I'm hearing this constantly. I'm hearing this. That's what I wanted to do. And I kept saying, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. So it was instilled in me, and it naturally came to me. So when I was able to solo without, like, play without sheet music, because I can read the sheet music and memorize it.
Right.
Even in band class, once I played it and heard it, and I didn't realize what I was doing, I didn't need the sheet music no more. I'm playing it, and I'm not realizing that's what I'm doing until later in life. And it's like, that held me back, because I would try to concentrate on the sheet music, and that would hold me back.
Right.
And it's like, nah, you don't need that, Doc. You know what I'm saying? So when I actually was able to play out and play free, it came to me. And then I started learning how to solo, and I was watching how they approached and how they built their solo and made it a conversation. You see what I'm saying? Not just play just to play aimlessly. I'm making a conversation. I'm talking to the other instrumentalists that's on stage. Hey, man, we having a conversation. That's what Eric Gould say. Have a conversation, Mr. Grant. Have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Kirk Whalum, you supposed to have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Y'all having a conversation. Y'all talking to each other and the people in the audience. And that's your main focal. And when I learned how to do that, the theory part just fell into place.
All right. We're gonna pause on that note. because I want to talk about the Cleveland audience and the audience that you played in and just the overall feeling of that. But before we do that, let's
Okay.
listen to Airborne to Cali, just what I wish we were doing right now. But we're just going to listen to the song by John J. Saxx on the Jazz Flyte Podcast. Welcome back to the Jazz Flyte Podcast, Airborne to Cali. I'll fly that plane anytime we want to. Our guest today is John J. Saxx. John, let's talk about, you've played in a bunch of different places, whether it be Nighttown, which is now Edwin's, the Beachland
Mhm.
Ballroom, Swerve.
Yeah, man.
But what was the audience like? What did you get from the people who you were playing to?
I got so much love and still do. I thank God for the blessing of the blessing and the gift and talent of music, and for letting me borrow it while my time here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, don't take it for granted at all. Um, and the people have shown me a lot of love, a lot of respect, a lot of just heartwarming. The show we had Saturday, man,
Mm-hmm.
I asked the promoter, I said, well, can we change the day to either Friday or Sunday? And I'm gonna tell you why. We had the incomparable Isley brothers in town in Cleveland the same day. And I was telling people, they was like, man, I wish, because I get calls all the time, when are you coming back to town and play?
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of last minute. I said, well, I'm coming to town to play. A lot of people already had their tickets to the Isley brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if I was you, I would go see the Isley brothers too, because
Right.
yeah, because you don't know how much longer you got with them.
Right.
And and then some of the iconic people that we still have left.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the Isley brothers. We love you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And appreciate you. And so we had a sold out show in Akron.
Nice.
At the same time, the Football Hall of Fame is going on.
Right. Yep.
And we still had a sold out show in Akron, Ohio. And that was a blessing. That showed me again how much they love me and how much God has favored me. And I really appreciate Cleveland know how to support the Cleveland Browns. I don't care how many games they lost. The Cleveland show up.
That's true.
The Cleveland Guardians now,
Mm-hmm.
former Indians, no matter how many games they lost, Cleveland showed up. The Cavaliers, Cleveland showed up. Cleveland is one of the biggest cities that know how to support their own.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
we need, as Clevelanders, we need credit for that.
Right.
Because we support our own. We do support our own, and we're big on that. And I appreciate it. So, shouts out to Cleveland, Ohio, Akron, Ohio, Canton, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio.
Listen at you.
Dude, Ohio players, Daz Band, OJs, I can keep going. You know what I'm saying?
You're too young to remember all them folks, man. I was playing
Yeah.
that music, man.
Bro, they raised me. Ohio players, I play with them to this day. They raised me.
It's what did they do for you? I mean, you listen to the music. The music is very good. We can name hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. But what did listening to that stuff, how did it inspire you? What did it make you want to do?
It made me want to play my saxophone to the best of my capability, because when I say that music was so heart-touching, so heartwarming, it touched your spirit, your soul in a good way. It's like, oh, I gotta get that. That's funky. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get down with that. And then when you get to meet them and they sit there and it's still in you, I met them through Eric Gould, through the OJs, through Gerald Levert, through Uncle Russell Thompson, through my sister Paulette Williams, who her brother was original member of Ohio Jazz Band and helped write the music for them. Cleveland School of Arts alumni. You know, I was connected to all of them. I got to sit up under them and learn from them, along with my other peers that we talked about. And even to this day, when they come to Atlanta, Ohio players, my brother Alvin is playing with the Dash Band right now, Alvin Frazier. You know what I'm saying? And I was a part of the Dash Band before I left. I was the new Dash Band. I was going to be play sax for them before I left and went to Atlanta. I'm so connected to everybody in the Cleveland scene, music wise, Ohio scene, music wise. Gregory Williams is my uncle, founding member of Switch, who was just in Akron last weekend. I was supposed to be on the show with him. That's who managed me to this day. Chicago Mike, who just passed away, was part of my management team. With the um, Cooling the Gang. He was their hype man and everything. I don't know if you heard about him passing. I'm the
Yes.
one that called the funeral home. They got his funeral and arrangements together to ship him to Chicago so he can have his funeral. I'm the one they called to do that.
You, like I said, we could talk till the cows come home.
Yeah.
So many things. This has been an absolute pleasure. It's so good to get to know you, to create this synergy that you and I now have.
Yes, sir.
We will stay in contact. As I tell people, I reserve the right to be able to call you back and talk about some other stuff that you got going on. But it is also so good that you're from Cleveland
Yes.
and you wear that. You wear that,
Yes.
and no matter where you go, and in all this stuff that we've talked about, we've mentioned some other people, whether it be Eric Gould, Kenny LeGrand, that have gone on past Cleveland and still made a name for yourself, but still carry that Cleveland badge of honor. It
Yes.
is so good. But the other thing is that really gets me is your energy. You are your own hype man. Um, the next time you are in town and playing, I'll be
Mm-hmm.
there. I,
Thank
I
you.
want I want to see this show. I want to see you. Even if you're coming in for a day or two, maybe
Mm-hmm.
early in the morning, we can have breakfast and sit down because
Yeah.
there's so many little things
Yeah.
that I think people want to know, or I shouldn't say people, that I want to know, um, and kind of go from there. I mean, you played Temptations, Whispers, Kool and the Gang,
Yeah.
Daz Band, and you have to learn something from all of those, and all of those are top tier people, top tier players.
Yeah.
Man, John J. Saxx, I bow down.
Oh no, to God be the glory, my
I
brother.
I appreciate this so much. As I said, well, let's do this. So, what are you working on now that we can see in the future?
So as we speak, um, past the passing of Chicago, because Chicago was working with me and my uncle Greg, and also my brother Ed from Switch as well. He passed away. Ed Llewellyn and Chicago Mike passed away back to back. They also had a part in helping, but I'm working on some new material. They was helping me with that new material. Uncle Greg is still helping me.
Hmm.
Um, and in the near future, I will be releasing. I'm redoing a song that I have to get permission from Big Brother Stevie Wonder. I want to do "You Will Know." I'm working on it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a Stevie tune that nobody ever touched.
it is.
It's one of my favorite songs. I take it as one of yours too.
I love that song. It's one of those, everybody remembers certain Stevie songs. And
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, that doesn't appear to be on the list.
yeah,
But for those of us who, when I was music director at WABQ, Sundays were my day to listen to music that came in during the week. And it was
yeah.
like, let me just put this on and listen. I try and do it. And if it stopped me from doing what I was doing, to me, it
Mm-hmm,
was a hit. It
mm-hmm.
was. And that song came on. When we get done with this, after making the phone calls that we talked about,
Yeah,
actually, it's over there. I'm gonna play it
yeah.
more than once, telling you. But it's that kind of. So when that happens and you get it out there, please send it to us
I
so we
sure
can
will.
post it on our social media. I,
Thank you.
John, I appreciate this. Thank you, Darrell. Um, we'll do this again. We'll stay in
That's big
touch.
sis. Yeah.
Where can people find if I mention your name, are
Hmm.
you in social media? Can people find you?
Yes. So on Instagram, it's at jsax1. J is spelled J S for saxophone, A for alpha, X for X-ray, X for X-ray again, number one. So that's J Saxx with two X's, Saxx with two X's. And on Facebook is John J Saxx Watkins. Um, Also John Watkins or J Saxx.
Okay.
And on my social media is either J Saxx or J Saxx Watkins.
Okay. You'll be added to our social media
Thank you.
in the next hour.
Thank you.
And we will go from there. Like I said, you'll hear about this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is John J. Saxx Watkins. It's been a good show, man. It's
Man,
great to talk to you. We will do this again, and we'll look forward to new music.
Darrell, I want to tell you it's been an honor to be on Jazz Flight. And I hope we can do this again, man.
Yeah,
We gonna go hang out and have lunch,
yeah,
bro.
exactly. And we can't invite nobody else because somebody else might intervene with a
Right,
bunch of
right.
different stories. But
Right.
um, if you know Eric and Kenny and Kirk, oh my
Yeah.
God, this is too much fun. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the Jazz Flight Podcast. Our guest has been John J. Saxx Watkins. If you like what we do, please subscribe. Tell everybody we're going for certain numbers at the end of the year, and we'll have more from this gentleman later on. So once again, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Jazz Flight Podcast. I hope you enjoy these stories and soulful melodies that grew through the doors of time. If you want to stay connected with the latest updates and episodes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Until next time, I'm Darrell Scott.